I think the White House is just planning to go ahead with the State of the Union as it was planned. And it's also my understanding that preparations continue up on Capitol Hill for the possibility that this thing could still go ahead. The Sergeant at Arms, which oversees the process of State of the Union on Capitol Hill, has been delivered a letter from the White House this morning asking for a, quote, walkthrough of the House of Representatives and the area of the Capitol where the president will be traveling in preparation for State of the Union, which is scheduled for next Tuesday, January the 29th. You'll probably remember that the Sergeant at Arms last week canceled a planned walkthrough. That was done at the request of Speaker Pelosi's office. Now, we have not yet heard from Speaker Pelosi's office whether or not they will ask the Sergeant at Arms to not schedule a walkthrough or not. But I'm also being told that Sergeant at Arms staff was told last week and again today to proceed with planning as if this thing is happening. So we do not know whether or not this is going to actually take place on Tuesday the 29th, Eric, but at least the Sergeant at Arms office up there on Capitol Hill, the U.S. Secret Service, Department of Homeland Security, and the White House are all planning to go ahead with the president being where he was asked to be next Tuesday. So that the ball now in Nancy Pelosi's court. Let's see what she says.
Yeah, well, it's at least they're preparing for that, so we're waiting for word from the Speaker's office on this. Meanwhile, shutdown day 32, the Senate's considering that bill this week. That does include the president's wall money, but the Democrats likely to oppose.
Yeah, but there are also some Democrats that are open to the idea of what the president is talking about. The quibble here seems to be, and this is both in the House and in the Senate, is whether you can negotiate on something while the government is closed or whether out of principle you have to have the government open before you go ahead with negotiation. Here's what Hogan Gidley, the Deputy Press Secretary, said this morning.
They're playing politics with people's lives here. It's dangerous for the country. And there are 800,000 federal workers that by midnight tonight, if a deal is not reached, they are guaranteed to miss a second paycheck in a row. That's unacceptable. Democrats have to come to the table to work with us to fix it.
You know, one of the Democrats that is considering the president's offer is West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin. He's always been a centrist Democrat in a state that President Trump won by 40 points. So sometimes the president's ideas are good ideas for the state of West Virginia. But the leadership on the Democratic side in the Senate, Chuck Schumer, still firmly with his heels dug in on all of this, saying no negotiation until after the government is open, and he is still firmly opposed to any idea of a border barrier. Listen here.
We are aghast that he wants this giant 30-foot wall to be the symbol of America. I tell President Trump, I've told him to his face, we want the symbol of America to remain the Statue of Liberty, freedom, equality, not a divisive wall. And we will fight for that. Fight for that, we will.
But the president tweeting this morning about what he sees as the benefit of a wall, saying, quote, without a wall, our country can never have border or national security. With a powerful wall or steel barrier, crime rates and drugs will go substantially down all over the United States. The Dems know this, but want to play political games. Must finally be done correctly. No cave. The president saying he's not going to cave. And Eric, I attended last week a briefing at Customs and Border Protection where they were talking about the need for a wall, particularly in some areas along the Rio Grande Valley and westward of that in Texas. And the thing is that they want it really to interdict drugs and other illegal cross-border activity. But because the wall cannot be built, we talked about this yesterday, in the floodplain of the Rio Grande, that means that a lot of these migrants from Central America, the Northern Triangle countries, would be able to get their feet on U.S. soil long before they got anywhere near a border barrier. And those are people who want to be apprehended by the Border Patrol. So while this is designed to stop illegal cross-border activity, drugs, human smuggling and the like, it would not stop the idea of these migrants coming across, putting feet on U.S. soil so they can be apprehended by the Border Patrol.